Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this cute simple ring. This is based on a really old tutorial back from 2016. I'll insert a picture of that one now. Maybe if you've been around with me from that time, maybe you remember that one. But basically I wanted to remake that ring and I wanted to spruce it up a little bit, add a bead, and then do a bit of a different weaving pattern here using all round wire. And this is a fun little pattern because I think it goes by really quickly, quicker than the typical woven patterns. So if you want to see how I made this ring, just keep watching. So I'm starting out with one piece of 20 gauge round dead soft copper wire, and it is 8 inches long. So the first thing we're going to do is take our 20 gauge wire and bend it roughly in half like this. And now you need something round, so I'm using these bail making pliers. You can use round nose pliers as well to bend it around to make like a roundish shape like this. And then we're gonna kind of mess around with this a little bit because I want it to be an oval. I also want my bead to fit inside of it, but not so snugly that there's no room for anything else, because we're gonna need to come back in here with some more wires to finish this ring off. So I'm just taking a look at that. So what I want to do now is bring these together, and I'm just using normal pliers here to kind of bend them, and the result is this. It's obviously a little crooked right now, so I'm just gonna have to mess around with it a little bit. Now we're gonna cut ourselves a nice long piece of 26 gauge round copper wire. This is dead soft, and this is about 30 inches, so it's really quite long. I folded it in half so I know that this is the middle of it. The reason I cut it so long is because normally I leave my wire on the spool, but this time I can't. And so I just thought, better safe than sorry. This might be too long, but oh well. So I'm taking this wire, and all we want to do is just wrap it around. So I have to put it through the middle here to get it up to the top. And then just do it again. Just pull it through the middle here. There we go. And we've created a little wrap here, and the wire is attached. So I'm just tightening up that little wrap. I'm just coming in here with my pliers because it was pretty loose with gaps in between. But now we've tightened it up, and it's all good. So now I'm just gonna take my little bead. I'm just putting both of the wires through the bead. They're pretty thin, so most beads should be fine. And I'm just kind of working my way down here. And now I'm just gonna flip this down so the bead is in the little hole. And this is what we want, and then we want the little area up here to have some space. That's why I wanted to make this larger than the size of the bead, because we're going to attach the wires to the top when we're finished, these actual like ring wires. So once the bead is on here, what I'm going to do is bring these thin wires to the back, and I'm going to kind of separate them a little bit like this. Let me zoom in a little more because I'm just trying to stabilize the bead and have a bee kind of in the middle here. So I'm going to take one of the wires and I'm just going to wrap around just like this, and then I'm going to take the other wire and I'm going to wrap around the bottom section just like that. And now we're just going to take this top wire and we are going to put it from front to back in between our wires, just like that. And the point of that is to line it up with our other wire. That's the ultimate thing that we want, is we want it to just be right next to, lined up with the other wire, because that will allow me to do my little weaving pattern. So when you start it, it's a little tricky because you have two wires and you're trying to keep them side by side, but basically how it goes is you take both of the wires and you put them through the middle, trying to keep like that nice side by side look of them. So this one was crisscrossing it, so I just had to fix it. It goes easier and faster once you kind of get in the swing of it, but at first it's just a little tricky. So now we're gonna point that down, keeping them side by side again, like that. So it essentially makes like a figure 8. If you want to think about it, like a figure 8 going around both of those wires. So now that I've done it for a little bit, it goes a little quicker. I'm just kind of pushing on it as I do it, making sure my wires don't twist and they stay side by side. And the nice thing about this is I personally think it's easier than traditional weaving. I don't know if you guys are going to find it easier. Maybe if you have already done the weaving, this might be tricky, but if you've never done weaving, I think this is easier. And it goes by quicker. Look how much we have already done. So it goes by nice and quick. Okay, so you can see here, starting to twist. So I'm just gonna untwist it so they're side by side. And just keep going with this, because this is going to be the band of our ring, so we need it to be quite long. So once it's getting quite long here, you can start to bend it around your ring mandrel in the ring size that you prefer. So I'm gonna do it around a 7. So you can see I need to do it just for a smidge longer here. So I'm just gonna do that. Kind of open this ring up a little bit so I can get back in here and just do a few of these final little wraps. And then the way that you want to finish up this wire, you can't just end and cut it because it might unravel. So what you want to do is, I'm just going to separate it out at first. And I actually didn't have that much wire ends left, so I'm glad I cut my wire so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire here, the left one, and I'm just going to raise it up like this, and I'm going to wrap it around the top wire a few times. Let's say 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. And then the bottom one, let's do the same thing. So now our wires won't unravel because we wrapped them around just a single wire. I'm just tightening that up. And what you want to do in terms of the wire ends is you don't want them poking through so they can touch the finger. So let me just kind of separate these wires a little bit so I can get in here and cut my wire ends so they're just like right on the edge here. like this. So I'm still just going to press down on them with my pliers, those little wire ends. And now we can put these wires back. And just make sure you don't feel the wire ends sticking out in the back here. If you cut them short enough, they won't stick out. I'm just going to bend my ring back into its little ring shape here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little wire ends, I'm going to start to kind of curve them down. Actually, I think if we cut them, it'll be a little easier. So I'm just going to trim them a little bit, not super short. Still need some length there so that we can kind of curve them into, let me show you here, right into here. So we have our bead and we have the wire attaching the bead right here, and you want one of these wires to go on one side and the other wire to go on the other side, like that. And then once you get them in there, that's kind of the toughest part. You just want to keep guiding them and keep working on them until, just essentially until you pull them up so that where this little weave ends, or this little wrap ends, that's where the wires end as well. You want it to be nice and even on both sides of your ring. You can just kind of press on them if you need to. And now we can finish them off. So to finish them off, we're going to trim them, but leave a little wire end. And you want it to be pretty equal on both sides. You can always adjust it if it doesn't work out, like if you need to cut one of the sides shorter later. But basically you just take that little wire end and you turn it this way, forming a little loop, and then you just press down, closing that little loop. And same thing on this side. Take the little wire end, turn it, forming a little loop, and then just press to close down that loop. This particular wire needs to be kind of pushed inwards, so I just pushed it inwards a little bit. And now you can just very gently and carefully go over this front section here. And now I'm just going to put it back on my ring mandrel to reshape it, because the shape of it got a little bit discombobulated when I was doing that. So I'm just kind of pulling it down my ring mandrel, so it's nearly a 7. It's about a 6.5. That's what it ended up being. And let me just put that on to show you. So here's our ring with the little decorative bead, and then here's the little wrap. And you can't feel those wire ends on the inside, the way that we kind of turn them inwards. It's smooth here. So it's just a fun one that you can do, and you can do different little beads. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.